far more residents in the department.
Sure. Now, the other thing is, why don't they require, washers and dryers?
These will have
That time frame?
But
and the apartments that I lived in when I first got married, this was 67, had washers and dryers. It's all up to whatever the landlord wants to present to.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, as a mandatory developer.
I don't know that you can, dictate that they have to do that. It's usually a perk that they get.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started here. It's become a real pit for
We have a few new people. We've got our agenda circulating for tomorrow's council meeting. Just feel free to mark it up. Anything on there you want to pull or discuss. The second hour of our discussion today will go into agenda items and any items that are concerning you. First things first, if we could, if you're able to, we'll put $5 each into the pot for some pizza and some soda, so it can help pay for the room. And circulate a sign-in sheet, so if you can, just provide your contact information so we can follow up with you. Just also, we are shifting the time of our meetings now from noon until 2. That's to accommodate a lot of our constituents have church on Sunday morning, and I've received a number of requests that we shift the time so that we can accommodate those individuals. So we'll see how it works out, but for the foreseeable future, our discussions will be from noon until 2, the Sunday before every council meeting.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Okay, so with that, our guest this morning is Mickey Valdivia. He's our Parks and Recreation Director. Welcome, Mickey. I think this is what, the second time here, so we'll go ahead and I'll give you the floor and the hour is yours. So everybody, Mickey Valdivia, our Parks and Recreation Director.
Good afternoon, Fifth Ward residents. It's a pleasure to be here again. It's my second time. I've been with the city now almost 2 years. I would venture to say that probably my biggest obstacle in that first year was figuring out how we were going to maintain the parks. And as you guys know, as I discussed last time, we are heading in that direction and it's been executed. We now have contracted out the park maintenance really in 2 divisions. Everything north of the 210 is a local landscape contractor, and everything south of the 210 from the 210 to 9th Street is called the central section, and then the southern section is 9th Street down all the way past the 10th freeway, and that's another local contractor as well. It's not perfect, but it's getting better. We knew that there would be bumps in the road, and as we get ready to engage a second contract at the beginning of this next fiscal year, we certainly know that there's issues that we need to address. Probably the number one issue that we're going to be addressing with our contractors is the new water conservation measures that are going to be imposed on us. In case you were unaware, last year when we engaged in stage 2 drought conditions, we adopted our own set of standards in conjunction with the San Bernardino Water Department. The highlights of those basically include we are now not watering between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. With the exception of Pioneer Cemetery, because it has to be done manually. You will on occasion see valves stuck on and things like that, so that will occur sometimes, and we've been pretty responsive to get those things mitigated. But we have almost 600 acres of parkland, so things like that will go on. It's a constant battle, trying to get those things under control. We water 4 days a week, okay, with a few exceptions. And let me start with Tom Minor, for example. At Tom Minor Park, there are 30 different valves. So in order for us to water only 4 days a week, we actually are watering 7 days a week. And here's what I mean. A valve is only set to be watered 4 times per week. But just with the time frames, with the water constraints and things like that, the time constraints, there's just no mathematical way for us to not water 7 days a week. But each valve is only being turned on 4 days a week, and that's the difference. I do get many inquiries sent to me through the councilman. I can tell you that your dialogue with him is working. It's very effective. I get most of your messages, and we hope to respond to them in a timely manner. So some parks, again, you will see 4 days a week, and some you'll see 7 days a week. But again, we're very committed to only watering on the valve 4 times per week. We've reduced the watering time frame down from 20 to 25 per valve to about 10, and I'm not real happy with the 10. Some of the lawn and some of the parks are looking stressed. But we were very cognizant of that. We intend on renegotiating with the contractors to make sure that there are safeguards because there are significant fines that would be levied on us by the state if we're excessively watering. So we will be addressing that. Let me address the flags while we're at Tom Minor. As you guys know, the flag was recently raised again. It's a little bit larger flag. I do have some people that want to help out with raising and lowering the flag appropriately, especially in the windy conditions that you all experience up here. I spoke with Jim Tickmeyer about that, and he does not have a problem working with local residents. I believe that there are a couple of cell towers on the next agenda that I think staff is recommending that we approve. The big issue is what is going to happen with the language regarding how the money is encumbered. Okay, I can't answer that. I think that the assistant city manager, Nita McKay, is basically indicating that she would like the money to go to the general fund. I'm opposed to that, but I'm not the boss, and I expressed my opposition to it here recently. I would love to see the money, if the cell towers are in parks, I'd love to see the money stay in parks, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So the purchasing of flags, when it comes to parks, does come out of our regular budget in the Parks Department. So if you have any issues with the flags, it definitely is coming to parks. So please, please make sure you send any inquiries like that. So we have not performed very well as far as getting the flags up at Tom Minor. I'll be the first one to admit that, and we have some work to do on that. I think we got the flag up finally Friday? Yesterday? Okay. I thought it was Friday. Okay. Nonetheless, I'm very well aware that we've not been performing well, and we will be definitely a lot more cognizant of that. So, any inquiries about that? Sir?
I came here because I'm one of the people who want to volunteer for the flag, okay? And Randy also, and I don't know how many other people he has. We have 2 flags up there in American California. Where's the city flag? Or do we have a city flag?
We do, it's blue away.
Yeah.
At one time, but it was taken down and never restored at the time of
Okay.
bankruptcy.
I know that and I'm not sure this is true or not, I know, like you said, the money goes to the general fund. These 3 units, the satellites, cell towers, so the money goes into the general fund. Maybe every 60 days, I'd like to recommend, maybe pull some money out just to buy a couple backup flags.
Yeah.
You can have them. And the other thing is, I'm not really a person with patience. How soon can we start taking over the flags? I mean, I know that, is there an issue there that we can't take over right away?
Well, I don't know that the city wants to relinquish that responsibility altogether because,
It's free, why not?
let me explain.
Okay.
If you change, if you move, something happens, this and that, then I've got to answer to everybody else, and I think it's easier if staff can certainly work with you. I think that the email that I saw was basically addressing adverse conditions. If it's super windy, get them down, get it back up, and that's where we really, the last flag that was lowered and never put back up, it came from an email that says the flag was tattered, please remove it, and then it never went back up again. That's our fault. We should should have had a backup flag, should have went up right away. But we certainly, I'll give you cell numbers of the people that we can work with, and we can.
Well, I know Randy's working with that, you know, and obviously for that one person.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, when they get with you up there, to take you down, put it back up, save the city some money.
Sure.
And it's a voluntary organization, and right now, I don't know how many others, I think there may be like 4 of us, is that right, Randy, or 3 of us?
There's quite a few of us that would.
Yeah, Mickey, why can't a neighborhood association take that over for you and help out? Neighborhood associations in this city have been doing a lot to help out the
Yes.
city. Would you look into that and see if we can
Absolutely.
possibly do that?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been surviving on partnerships, so it's not that we're adverse to it, but I think I'm just a little hesitant in case, again, residents change, people change, and I think our obligation is to always make sure we have a backup flag.
Well,
when
we can
we're
just
doing
put it
this.
in our bylaws and it'll just stay that way.
I'm okay with engaging that, Councilman. What are your thoughts on that?
You could
It's gonna be more
We
effective, I
have,
know.
we have a very active group.
You could designate 2, 3 people that they're in charge of
Yeah.
the flag.
Yeah, is it a lot box to get it up and
No,
down?
it's just a little, get your drill in there, a little half inch or take it up and
Okay.
down.
It's a wrench. It's a-
Yeah.
something else.
There's
And
lots
we
of
can-
Marine Corps
yeah,
flag on there.
and we can always ask for donations and we can start a fund so that when they
Yeah, we looked into
replace
that
it.
too.
Well, we were waiting to find out what the city would say, because I was gonna go in and ask for volunteers to pay for the flags. The research of the flags that I did, the polyesters for the American in California were a total of $400 for 2. And then we were talking about another flag, I don't know if that would be allowed at this
Marine
point.
Corps.
The Marine Corps
Excuse me,
flag.
Bob, don't you have one that's made for windy conditions, an all-weather one?
Just like anything else,
I-
they'll sell flags that are
Yeah.
of greater quality.
Yeah,
I have-
I mean, we can talk about this at our next meeting.
I have
Different
made
flags for different
the
days.
flag nomenclature that I have available to the city several times.
Yeah.
I've made offers on, I'm buying them through the museum and give them to the city. You pay for them, I'll buy them, you know, to save the city some money, and it's fallen on deaf ears. I mean, help is there, you just need to take advantage of it.
It's an issue, because you've got a lot of veterans in here that gets really much fun when the flags are either not flying
Right.
or flying properly. It took me a year to get them in the right position. So. I
We're
mean,
maintaining all the flags at the airport now.
So it's working, obviously.
I mean, it's a little
Let's
issue.
do it.
It's a little issue to maybe you and the city, but it's a big issue to us, I guess.
Right.
Well, I don't wanna say it's not an issue for the city or the city's.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
But I understand what you're
priority.
saying. Sure, I understand. What if perhaps you fund the San Bernardino flag and let the city fund the California and the American flag?
The custom flag with the city crest on it,
Yeah.
I can get you a price and see, what that will be. I need the artwork. You know, if you will give me the crest, then I can get a price on getting those made. And again, like you said, you buy one, it's $50. You buy 2, it's $75.
A couple of things. First of all, we can check with John's Flags and Poles over in Riverside. They carry quite a selection of not just
Yeah.
the American flag and those kind of things, but they carry across a group of states. And I know they've got some municipal, but even business type flags that they produce. So that's one thing. I want to go back to the beginning of your comments about the cell towers and the money. When the cell towers were still in the proposal stage for Tom Minor Park, there were figures of something like $7,000 a month that were going to be given, quote unquote, directly to the park each and every month from the cell phone bills, so to speak. As time progressed, and our council representative at that time may have taken his eye off of the ball, all of a sudden the money went down to the city's general slush fund, as I call it, and thus we don't have the funds available to replace flags, keep our park maintained and up to a decent standard, that kind of thing. So with the item on tomorrow night's agenda relating to cell towers and that, I don't think it's ridiculous at all to say that if the cell towers are going to plant their towers there, and especially in our case, since they're the flagpoles and they're basically at the gateway to the city as you drive the 215, some of that money needs to come back so that we can replenish our flags, replenish our parks, and keep them fresh. Also, going to the point of purchasing and so forth, there's two people that are normally here, one of whom is normally here, that have been volunteering as far as if you need money for flags, if you need someone to commit to go and raise and lower the flag as needed, that kind of thing they have. They're not here today, but I know that they definitely would, if they got the email, they'd be the first ones to jump in and say, yes, count me in.
Understood?
If I may, step in quickly, our Ways and Means Committee discussed this a couple weeks ago, the issue of cell tower revenue. The response we got from our city attorney was that there is no policy in regard to cell tower revenue. That the revenue that is being collected goes into the general fund. It does not go, it's not earmarked for anything, it goes into the general fund. And there has not been any policy established by the city council to direct those funds either to specific facilities or for specific uses. The money is actually directed to the Public Works Department. They collect the funds. My direction to Tony Broussard, our Public Works Director, based on the input we received when this item was brought forward last time, several council meetings ago, was that we further look into the matter to determine if in fact there is a policy. Their perspective is that the money should be used for general uses. It should not be directed to specific parks or to specific facilities for specific uses. My response to that was then, well, let's document that, and if that is your position, make it known when this item is brought forward. To be fair, the revenue that we are generating, I know that that was also a concern. We are getting, in our estimation, a fair return in terms of the revenue that's collected. So in terms of the money that's coming in, it is more or less, it's actually a little better than what the market is currently paying, but we don't currently have a policy in regard to the use of it. My preference would be, my personal preference is, you know, if it's collected there, it should stay there. But then there's also a point of view which is, well, why then is that a disadvantage to other areas of the city that may not have the ideal location for cell towers? Should they be penalized because they don't have the cell tower? And I agree. I mean, it's a different perspective.
I'm sorry, who said life was going to be fair?
I'm not saying
As a
that.
friend of mine says, the fair comes to town once a year and somebody gets paid to scoop up the elephant.
You know, Tom Miner is kind of up on a hill, and it's a higher location, so it tends to be a better location for a cell tower. So why should other park properties and other wards be penalized because they don't have the prime real estate for a cell tower?
Guess
It's
what?
an argument.
They don't have the real estate up here, and we'll still pay them for all of their public support down, or public officer support down there.
So anyway, just wanted to respond
Yeah.
to that particular point.
Henry? Why does it have to be an all or nothing?
It doesn't.
We take a portion of the revenue, like say 30% or.
Because if we have cell towers at a park, then that money needs to be used for flags. And then the additional revenue can go to the general
Even if
fund.
it's every 60 days, so it does, you know, they don't think they're.
We're getting $2,100 a month.
Right.
So I think a portion of that revenue.
Is that
could
per
be sent,
tower or per location?
Per
tower. Per tower.
no, it's per
Well-
property,
For location?
Yeah, for location.
Because
I think that's the
Minor
purpose.
has 3 towers,
Correct, but it's one property.
so it's per location, we get $2,100.
That's my understanding, per location. I'll clarify that, but my understanding was.
I
it
can
was
tell you
per
in just a
property.
second.
But I think it wouldn't be, I think you're right, it'd probably be compromised to say, okay, we'll put the money in the general fund, but can we pull a portion of that out to go into a flag fund? At least we have money for flag.
And Nita McCain has asked me really quick, I'm sorry, to identify in my next proposed budget, money for flags, and that was just funded out of the general fund, so. in theory, they're going to do exactly what you're suggesting.
I have a question, I haven't really paid attention, how big are those flags over Town Minor now?
It's a 6x10, the new one we put up.
Oh, it's new, I haven't noticed that, I was gonna say
A little
minimum
bit
5 by
larger,
8.
right?
Yeah, I noticed them for the first time, I think it was Friday night.
Yeah, I have, somebody.
They originally started out as 6x8.
They look lovely up there.
Lynette's had her hand up.
Well, it's 6 by 8, that's a good thing. They only went 2 by 8.
It's a bit of a bait and switch, because when that park was set up, I did all the DNA meetings, you know, and part of the deal was, oh no, it's gonna cost too much money, the city doesn't want it. Oh, well, if we put the cell towers in, that'll help some of the watering, the landscaping, the equipment. And that was the deal that was made with the community. And the community really, there were some really ugly DNA meetings up here about those cell towers. People in the neighborhood around them really didn't want the cell towers, and that was the trade-off the city made, is that cell tower money will go to maintain the park and make sure that this park is augmented, you know, with nice equipment. Well, the equipment we got through whatever the grant, equipment, so the equipment wasn't bought through the cell tower money. And that was the deal that was verbally at least made with the community up there.
Do you have
So
the
there were some
documentation?
pretty
Do you have the
heated meetings.
The problem is it was never in writing.
So the
Well,
documents.
I'm gonna disagree with you, because I've got a copy of the
Well, and if
contract.
it is, please let me know, because.
The only thing is
when
it was
the
the
city attorney
preliminary
says there's
contract.
nothing in writing, I mean, what can I do? But if there is something in writing that documents that that was the agreement,
I'll look for it.
then I will certainly bring that to their attention and say,
It's just kind of like a bait and switch.
Oh, it is.
They really had to work on it. They came multiple meetings working on it for the cell towers, you know, and people were really.
my rule is always if it's not in writing, it was never said. Yeah.
Is there any other person that wants to donate to the pizza fund? Okay, can I ask how many would like pepperoni pizza that gave me money? Hand trays, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Hawaiian pizza? Vegetarian? You didn't hardly get it. You're gonna take whatever you get. I like that, that's
Whatever,
good.
there you go. All right, so any more questions on the cell tower issue? Flag issue?
Water. Irvington and Pine, the Greenbelt. This morning, every Sunday, a bunch of us get together for breakfast. Greenbelt, Irvington and Pine. The sprinklers were on at the Greenbelt. When I came to this meeting, the sprinklers were on at the Greenbelt. Same spot. They've been on for over 3 hours. Maybe you haven't stuck that. Do you have a crew that works on the weekends to oversee the watering and to address these stuck valves? You know, do they roam around and look for this type of stuff?
Yeah, our inspectors don't work on the weekends. We have 2 inspectors, but we always have somebody on staff that can address it. But let me make this very clear. Parks only maintain park property. We don't maintain.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to talk to Tony Crosser about that because Public Works maintains. So they have, some of them are on contract and some of them they maintain internally, so it just depends on the location. I'm gonna guess that this one is contracted out.
I'm sure it is. It's L&D there. But there needs to be somebody that's looking, if they're watering during the day throughout the city, there needs to be somebody that.
And they shouldn't be watering during the day.
Overseeing this. Well, there's a bunch of stations all along that street.
Yeah.
You